Hello makers and welcome to Spectiva Studios. It's really good to have you here. Now when I was a kid, I really loved to collect stamps. I had a stamp collection, probably no great shakes. Most of them were expired, canceled stamps, but it was still really fun for me to find stamps I didn't have in my book and add them in there. And one of the things I liked about stamps is that each one represented a little piece of artwork, if you will. Well, as an adult, I no longer collect stamps, and I've also found that stamp collecting has kind of fallen out of favor. And one of the things that evidences this is that if you look at places like eBay, you find a lot of people selling a lot of stamps, mostly at face value. They're trying to get their money back out of it because the stamp market apparently has crashed. Nobody's really collecting them anymore. So one of the things about this, of course, it makes opportunity for artists like us to be able to pick up some new ideas on what we can do with art relatively inexpensively. So what I have in front of me today is, first of all, I have a frame. It's just a 5" by 7" frame that I'm going to put something into. But I've also been picking up some stamps from various places. I have some US stamps. These are actually all uncanceled. So kind of an assortment of little pieces of art, probably the stuff I would have just died for when I was a kid. Also, recently I was in a consignment shop near where I live, and I found somebody who was selling a whole bunch of foreign stamps, international stamps, and most of these have been stamped or expired in some way, which is still kind of fun. And the thought was, wouldn't it be interesting to create some sort of piece of abstract art using only stamps as our medium? And that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, one of the things I've been doing here is I have cut out a piece of cardstock that will fit into our frame, so we'll have something to work on. And the thought is simply this: I want to come in here and I want to think about how I might want to arrange the stamps. Now, something very easy, especially if you're just getting started, is to find sort of a gradient that will work, and gradients will often do a good job. So remember Roy G. Biv, right? Your yellow, orange, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Roy G. Biv will make us a bit of a rainbow down here. So if I go to my stamps and say, okay, we're going to start off with red, let's start collecting a pile of different red stamps. It's not too hard to do. Again, if you have enough stamps, and I went out and bought a bunch. I bought a bunch just to make sure I could have some to work with. But all I'm really trying to do is create a row of perhaps red, and then we'll bring it down a little bit and say, okay, after red, let's say we have some orange. So there's some orange in there. Again, some of these may be on the intermediary between what red and orange looks like to you, but no harm, no foul. It's not going to be something that we're going to be calibrating in some meaningful way, but it's an opportunity to come in here and just get a sense of what's going on with those different colors. Now, I will say that in my experience, there are very few stamps that have yellow as their primary color. I would just assume predominantly because it's really hard to see. So you may have some that kind of blend toward the yellow spectrum that you might be able to push in, but it's going to be a little bit harder to make that happen. I have one over here with my my US stamps, for example, that's a little bit more on the yellow spectrum. That could be something interesting to use. Now, again, what I want to be able to do is kind of just sort my stamps into some different piles to create some tools for me to work with, really. I'm going to have some resources here, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to take a few moments to kind of sort some things into piles, and when we get back, let's talk about how we can put it all together. Okay, welcome back. Now, it hasn't taken very long. I've been able to create a couple of different piles here, kind of a red pile, orange to maybe a little bit of yellow. I have a pile of green to blue, some blues in here, and then some indigos and purples kind of mixed together. And again, there's no right way to do any of this. One of the things I really want to be able to do, again, is just try to start to put some things onto my paper here that look like they might go well together. Now, we're also going to probably stagger them. I think having straight lines is not going to look as good as having staggered lines, where it looks like a little bit more organic and not just super planned. And also, when we're dealing with these different stamps, we have different sizes and actually different shapes as these come into play. So one of the considerations as you go across is just to vary it up a little bit, make it a little bit interesting. And again, don't make everything on the same level. Let me see if I can, this one's a different shape. I'm going to have all mine at least not upside down here. We'll do that. And yeah, and then I can come in here with something like that. So by just putting in a few stamps here, I can get a red layer down. Now, I have more red. I have some red to orange I can work with here. And what I want to be able to do now is really think about how to stagger those in on top of these. So I'm going to go and grab my trusty glue stick. And what I'd like to do is just start getting these things stuck down. So again, there's no right order. I'm going to dry fit them best I can. And usually I like to use a glue sheet so I just don't end up getting glue all over my my cutting board here. So I'm just going to use a piece from a notebook. No problem here. And again, let's just get this first stamp in here, get some glue on it. And we're going to immortalize it into this glorious piece of artwork. even though it'll never be used as a postage stamp again, although it's already been used. So this one, in this case, it's already served its purpose. And again, I don't need to glue these down, too firmly, because these are already adhered, and they're not going anywhere regardless. But I'm going to just kind of put them in here like this, and just try to create kind of an interesting combination of these different shapes initially within the same color range, and then eventually really start to play around with some overlapping. Again, there's nothing wrong with putting a little bit of overlap in some of these places as well. That could also make this look very interesting. Let me just get the edges on that one. And where's this? This is 5 shillings, so it's very possible this is British, but I can't really see. Could be elsewhere. It doesn't look English, so. Let me put this piece in here. I think I'm going to kind of overlap the one that's already in there. Again, it gives a little bit of just an extra bit of dimensionality to it if they're not all just perfectly lined up. All right, those look pretty good. So let me come in here now, and let's come in here and let me get the next tier going here. And I'm going toward a little bit of the orange. And what I might do again is just come in here and make sure that's upside down. I would notice that eventually. It's just trying to kind of hit my intersections a little bit. Again, there's no right way to do this, but I want to make sure that we have the things being overlapped a little bit. I don't want them just to be straightly lined up in there. It's not going to look as good, I don't think. So we'll do it like that. See? And again, at the end of the day, it's really going to be about the color combinations that we're pulling together. All right, let's get this next piece in. I think that'll overlap there nicely. And again, one of the things you're starting to notice, of course, is that these things are not lined up in perfect lines, and that's really part of the objective here, is just to create something that's going to be varied. And again, it's going to move the color around as well, which is part of what I want to be able to do. I have a brighter orange, maybe slash red here. Let me see if I can get this in here. And there we go. And there we go. This is good too. And again, we're varying it up, but we are going to see a spectrum emerge over time. Get that little corner down there. And then, yeah, and I might kind of blonde it out a little bit here. We'll see. I have a little bit lighter orange. And again, this stamp is in rough shape. Who knows what kind of life this has had. Like I said, a lot of these came from a consignment store, and somebody was selling them for a dime each. And I said, let me load up on some art supplies here, which is really what I did here. And I like the way these turn out. I think it's kind of a fun process as well. Coming in here. Now the yellow's kind of going down into some browns. I'm going to try to match that on the other side with some greens. And again, it's not an exact match of going from orange into a green hue, but again, we can kind of make it work for ourselves. And let's get that in there. Let's see what else we have. This is a fun one. It's a little bit taller as well. As you can start to see, we're almost getting to the halfway point on here, and that's kind of fun in that it didn't take us too long to get here, or too many stamps either. And I can come in here and see what we can do with that. That looks nice. And again, I'm going to kind of play around. I've got a very, very light color stamp. Maybe that'll go over right there. That's a barely green color. How about that? It's super, super, super subtle. I think we hit it in that corner right there. Beautiful. Let's vary this up a little bit. Maybe that brighter green will go there. And start leading us. Again, our next color on the spectrum is going to be blue. And we'll see how we transition into the blue in just a second. And the good news is I have some green-blue stamp colors in here as well. That should work out nicely. And let's put you right there. I need a bigger stamp for right up here. Something kind of span that gap. You may be our candidate. That may be the one that we are going to work with here. There we go. So bring that in. This one looks like it's been chewed on by moths, but you know what? Now it looks good. We made it into some artwork for perpetual viewing in the future. There we go. Oh, this is a good one too. I guess I'm going to just kind of hit this over here. Now again, I'm trying to think a little bit about how to transition from the green toward the blue. I have a green bluish type of color here. And let's see if that works for us. And there we go. What do I think of this? Actually, these are kind of fun. I'm going to get kind of a teal color here. This will definitely transition between the green and the blue nicely. Oop. Hope I didn't glue it down to my gluing sheet. There we go. Better, better, better. I'm going to try not to make these crooked because you will notice it. Not that it's going to be a horrible thing, but it's just going to be one of those things that, you know, if especially if you're someone who might have OCD tendencies, it will just bug you because like, it's a little crooked up there. And we don't want to annoy our friends with slightly crooked art if we can help it. And you'll notice I didn't use all the stamps I sorted out, and that's fine. That makes gives me opportunities for future projects. And that looks pretty good too. Let me pop that there. Actually, this Canadian stamp in here, or maybe it's British. It's got the Queen on it, regardless. It's really kind of an interesting pop of color right there. It's kind of the center. I like to do something that again can draw the eye nicely when we're looking toward the center of the piece of artwork at all. Kind of, because that's where we're going to look instinctively, and we'll see something that grabs our attention. Beauteous. And there we go. And there we go. All right, see how we're doing here. Again, I'm getting some darker blue in here. I guess I'll do this. Now, indigo is really more of a purple color, so I suppose my darker blue should be up toward the top of the spectrum here. And then as I come down a little bit, it's going to be more of a kind of a, well, this is more of a purple, I suppose. And the indigo is really kind of a harder, deeper. It's actually more the color of my glue stick. So I don't have a lot of stamps that really fit perfectly in the indigo world. So we'll just start hitting it with a few of the purples here. We'll create a transition. This is Canada. And put that right in there. Looks pretty. And let's start getting the other purples. And we'll fill in the rest of the space with whatever purple we have. And that should make it come together. And again, you can start to see that really cool transition that's going top to bottom here. And again, it's just a matter of being able to come in here and just, you know, work with the tools that we have here. I may have a little overlap at the bottom, which I can trim off if that's what I want to be able to do. It's not going to be a problem for us. Let's go in here and let me just kind of, I like the brighter colors that are emerging at the bottom. I guess these are more of the indigo that I kind of missed a little bit earlier. But hey, it's all within the same color family. And if you do several of these, again, this is the kind of thing that might be really fun. I like to think of this, you know, as bathroom art, the kind of small format, small framed prints that you can put in various places around the house. They don't have to take up a lot of room, but they can really offer a very interesting and fun and engaging splash of color in almost any room in your house. They make lovely gifts as well. And let's bring that down like that. Now, once again, the real magic comes when we get this puppy framed up. Let me just make a hole in my canvas here. And let me open up my frame. And what I want to do here is I want to pull out the placeholder, this piece of paper, which we don't need to keep. And now it's the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to drop this in here. First of all, make sure it fits, and it should. I measured carefully. Measured twice, cut once, that kind of thing. Let's put this back in here. And ready for the grand reveal. Here we go, and how's that? Isn't that fun? So once again, it's an opportunity for us to take these different colors and work with them and pull them together to create a combination. Now, by the way, you can do this with any assorted colors. If you wanted to go into a series of magazines and pull magazine colors and really just kind of place them in this way, you could do it. Stickers, whatever you have lying around, you can make some really fun art. And just by layering things in here with the different color families, really create something that's going to grab attention and really look like it all belongs together. Anyway, that's the objective for today. We did this in real time. It didn't take an awful lot of time to create something that is really interesting and memorable. And I encourage you to take some time to build your own things. Again, small format art is really kind of fun, and that it doesn't take a long time to certainly fill in the frame. And we can create some really eye-catching things. And if you like what we did here, we do this every single week. We're always working with some sort of abstract art, learning about tools, learning about methodologies, and creating artwork just like this. And if this is what you like to do, we'd encourage you to become part of our growing family and just hit that subscribe button down below. And if you hit the like icon there, it helps YouTube tell other people about us, and we love when that happens. So anyway, that's all I have for you this week. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Spider, and I'll see you next time.